right, so here's number 10. We want to work on this left side, and the first thing I would do is I would change this cotangent and this tangent, and we're going to fix up these ones so that we can combine them. So let's start there. This first fraction is sine theta over cotangent is cosine over sine. And the number 1 can be written as sine over sine. And I'm writing it this way so that I can combine these two together. And then I'm going to write plus cosine theta over tangent is sine over cosine. And the way we're going to write this one is cosine over cosine. So this way there's a common denominator and I can combine these two fractions. So once we do this step to combine them, we're going to put sine on top, and then our denominator says sine theta minus cosine theta over sine theta plus cosine theta over cosine theta minus sine theta all over cosine theta. So now I'm going to do keep, change, and flip. So in this first fraction we have sine theta on top, and it's being divided by this fraction, so I'm going to do sine theta times, and then I'm going to flip this one. And then plus, we're going to do the same thing here. Cosine, keep, change that divide to multiply, and then we flip this one. So now when I multiply, I have sine times sine, which is sine squared. Cosine times cosine, which is cosine squared. And then our new denominators are sine theta minus cosine theta and cosine. Okay, so I'm going to do a little trick here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this cosine. I'm going to take a negative out of this one. So if I take a negative out of here, I'm going to have a negative in front. This sign is going to become a positive sign, and this cosine is going to become a negative cosine. Then I'm going to, a negative and a positive makes the middle minus. So now I can combine these two fractions. If I write it as sine squared, positive and negative makes it a minus cosine squared, and then we have our common denominator, which is sine theta minus cosine theta. Okay, so we don't have any identity that says sine squared minus cosine squared. We have an identity that says sine squared plus cosine squared. So instead, you see how this is a regular sine minus cosine? Instead, what we're going to do to this numerator is we are going to factor it, because this is a difference of two squares. And with a difference of two squares, you can separate it into sine theta minus cosine theta times sine theta plus cosine theta. And then you can see right there, now that it's factored, I can cancel out that denominator, and I will have my final solution, which is just sine theta plus cosine theta. And there it has been verified.